responsibility. The cutscenes in Sonic Generations sucked also, just like the cutscenes in Colors did. It was just like a really tacked on story. The characters, I hated the way they looked. They looked like generic cookie cutter versions of how they're supposed to look. None of them looked badass or anything. All, like Tails, Knuckles, Amy, they all looked way better looking in Sonic Adventure 2. And that game was fucking like 10 years or some shit before Generations came out. The way they look in Generations, they look like characters that would appear in like those toddler Mickey Mouse cartoons. It's embarrassing. And the dialogue was bad in the cutscenes too. So if the dialogue's pretty bad, that doesn't make an excuse for the story. You can have a decent story, but you gotta have good dialogue, man. Otherwise, it doesn't fucking work. People gave Sonic Generations way too much of a pass, and the same thing happened with Colors. I think Sonic was doing so bad during the Dark Age, during the late 2000s, that people were so desperate and didn't want to experience another bad Sonic game. So they basically just gave up and said, well, Sonic Colors isn't that bad, so I guess it's a masterpiece and it's the best Sonic game ever. It was like out of desperation. And I felt that too at the time as a Sonic fan. I felt it. I felt desperate, and I wanted to love Colors too. But I wasn't a dipshit. I didn't accept it. I didn't praise Colors to the high heavens. Colors is not a great game, and neither is Sonic Generations. They're both pretty good games, but they're not like the masterpieces of Sonic, and they're not a positive step in the right direction. They feel stagnated. You know, especially when you look at Colors. Like, what is the plot? Just Eggman in this theme park? Okay. Like, what happened to the really complicated plots in Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and Heroes? And Shadow the Hedgehog, too, by the way. What happened to that shit? Oh, no more complicated storylines. It's just Eggman being bad again. I mean, it's fucking boring. It's fucking boring, guys. And people are like, oh, I don't play Sonic for the story. Oh, what kind of a Sonic fan are you? Do you care about the characters? Do you care about the world? Or you just give a shit that it's a blue animal running fast? There's more to Sonic than just his speed. There's a whole fucking legacy and the integrity of the characters. A lot of people talked about this, of course. I think Sonic 06, it's never going to be a game Sonic fans are going to forget. Sonic 06 became like 9/11 for Sonic fans. It's so infamous, and it is complicated, its legacy, because it didn't do everything wrong. There's still people that defend Sonic 06, and I think that has some merit. I think it's been over-exaggerated how bad the game is, because it makes for good YouTube videos. You know, it's more fun to watch someone get pissed off, like what I'm doing in this video, than just have someone just be like, oh yeah, well, I thought it was mediocre and it could have been better. Well, that's fucking boring. People want to see someone yell and all that shit. But, you know, the game had flaws, but the story wasn't bad, and it wasn't stupid that they did all these cool ideas with Mephiles the Dark or whatever. It's too bad, of course, because we all talk about this all the time, is that ever since that game came out and the reception of that game, then they never wanted to return to like the Adventure series anymore because the reception was so bad. That's one motherfucking game. Yes, it was overhyped to high heaven as the best Sonic game before it was released. I know, but it was one fucking game. One fucking game should not destroy the entire reputation of the concept of the Adventure series. I love the Adventure series. I actually love the Adventure games more than the 2D Genesis games. I'm sorry, I do. I love the 2D Genesis games. I grew up with them. Yes, I played them when they came out, but the Adventure games are better because the stories are better. It's more complicated. They even had the fucking military in like Sonic Adventure 2. You know, like that's like serious and badass. It's so cool. And the whole thing with the emeralds, they expanded upon the lore of the emeralds and everything. The dialogue, the cutscenes. I mean, come on, guys. Like, we were spoiled with Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and even Heroes to a degree. It's time for Sonic Adventure 3. It's time. You know, it's like Sonic's been like snorting too much cocaine for too long. Someone's got to kick him in the ass and say, we're making Sonic Adventure 3. It's time to redeem your legacy as a character. Sonic already redeemed himself as a game series by making new or, you know, pretty good new 2D games. Sonic has worked in 2D and has always worked in 2D. He proved himself as a character with those games, like the legacy of that. But there's so much more you can do with the character when it's a 3D adventure game. Sonic Frontiers, let's talk about that. It's an interesting game. I kind of like the concepts. I thought the cutscenes were awesome. And I like that it was like an interesting story. This is like they finally, made Sonic not an asswipe in this game with the cutscenes. They finally gave us a serious story after like a million years of treating the fans like trash and giving up on story development and all that shit. So it is technically a step in the right direction. However, it's not a great game. I don't like that most of the levels in the game are just giant fields of grass, and there's like grinding stuff in midair for some reason, and it's just like the platforms, and like it's so generic. Like it's trying to be ironic. It's trying to be like it's so generic that it's not generic, but it is though. All the enemies are exactly the same, and it's too easy to defeat them all. It's just too damn easy, and it doesn't like where's all the color? Where's all the interesting worlds? It'd be cool if like the whole grassy field thing. It'd be cool if that was like the first level, and then like after that, it gets better, right? But that's like so much of the damn game. I mean, it's just boring. And then like the alien robot monsters he fights in the game or whatever. At first I thought they were interesting and different looking. The longer I thought about it, it's like my mind is playing tricks with itself. It's like they're trying to like kind of manipulate the fans. Oh, see, look, they're interesting. Sonic has never fought enemies like this before. Yeah, but they just look so thrown together in like a Windows program to make a game. They don't have any meaning. They're just like random looking aliens and with no faces, and they just, have sharp edges, and it's like, okay, what is that? That's supposed to be these new interesting enemies? It'd be fine if they were in one level. Those are all the enemies you fight in the damn game. This is the game that they, again, hyped up to be like the savior of Sonic again. It's technically a step in the right direction, but it isn't that good. It isn't. Is it pretty good? Yeah. But, again,